Live from New York. Well, I'd like to be your personal mystic to help awaken the mystic in you and help you to awaken others. So, today's subject, let's stimulate your inner mind communication and why some MAGA supporters find this difficult or utterly refuse. That's, I want to start off with a humorous story about interpreting tongues. And as you know, this is a rational approach that I have using empathy, forms of empathy and awareness that can greatly enhance our abilities to find a deeper sense of meaning in life and to overcome what I call damaged faith and love. So it has a philosophy to it that is basically, in short order, love. This is a raw, just me here kind of approach. Um, and eventually, there may be people who actually stumble onto a live presentation and finding a good time that to generally do this is difficult for me. So this is how it is. We have a humorous story about um, speaking in tongues. I wanted to relate that because there's a technique in my um, version of inner mind communication that utilizes something that looks very similar to what some Pentecostals do. But and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what they're doing. They feel better, more power to them. But I'm not convinced that they are speaking in a foreign language um, or in a language of angels or something. One case in point was, and they would do like a call and answer kind of thing, like they would use this, what I call a technique, creating sounds that don't link up to language that you know, and then asking somebody to interpret what they said. Well, I went to 3 different services, and one lady in the crowd would say something on the order of Baba C, Baba C, Baba CK, Baba 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 CK, something like that. Those were the only sounds that she was making. And I might not remember the order, but I remember that the tone and the words are what sounded like they could be words or something. And each time the preacher would interpret that on these three different occasions completely differently and go on an ad length on what was said. Those few words became a very long sermon in all three cases, each time giving her same vocalization a different meaning. Yea, and the Lord said, well, uh, maybe. Anyway, so I wanted to go over that so you would understand that this technique is something like that. And I'm going to try to do some experimenting here. Um, I'd like you to see what thoughts come are generated in you when and this is something that can be done in a group practice of inner mind communication, where uh, one is triggering um, aspects of or basic perspectives used in mind communication. And one is where one technique is where you purposely make a sound, or, well, not with purpose, but in a playful kind of a way, just letting the sounds come to you. They come to you. And then sometimes if you keep going with that, it will trigger creative thoughts in your mind. So it looks, this practice in a group could look similar to that, but no one is claiming that it's a language.
Nor are they claiming that it's coming from on high. But let's give it a shot. You know, it's in the practice. It's used to get in touch with your infant mind, but that's a place of great flexibility where um, your sense of you have no rigid self concept. You have no real concept of a self. Really, um, well, I wouldn't say at all, but certainly not in any conceptualized way. So here it goes, and it can be done in two different ways. One is where you just make up the sounds, and others where you can make up the sounds and you sing. But in our in this practice, you're trying to come from sensations and feelings that you're having, not fully conceptualized attempts to say something. Just being playful, which is one of the skills that you have had as an infant. So here goes. From my perspective, my inner feelings, sensations. You thought a cheated son and I hey. Oh, name inside. Oh, that's ah, no, so now there can come a sense of relaxation after that, by the way. And because just you're distancing yourself from your sense of strong drama in your life. You're going in a way more directly to your feeling sensational self. And that has a lot of value, which I go into at various points. And now here it is, an attempt with a bit of song. When you sing it, it's almost like you're dancing on top of the feelings and the sounds, like someone singing the blues or singing a joyful tune. And that can be helpful in triggering neurons and making extra connections. And and it can be helpful to the development of creativity. So, if you want, and only if you want, what thoughts come to you listening to that? And did you try it yourself? And what did you feel? Now, I've got notes over here. This is live, so not pre-done. Let's do. Huh. Okay. Let's see how you feel and how you respond to attempts to practice um, some of the techniques. I've given you one, and focus is another perspective that's used, and that's pretty silent. Um, that's just a time of relaxing, and so not just relaxing, but focusing on what you feel and what you sense, not in a conceptualized way, but just your raw feelings, your physical feelings. And so to practice that, I would be silent, but for yourself, I will use suggestion so that you might do the same. And I've just done that. Focusing now on what you feel and what you experience within your body. Focus and let go. Focus, let go. Focus. Pay attention and let go. Let go. Calm. If anything is in you that is particularly bothersome or painful, pay attention to it intensely. Intensely focus and pay attention to what's happening. And then let it go. Okay, that's enough of that. Um, you can use this to help you better handle fears and physical pain and a uh, for a number of things, just to relax more. And now for another perspective. This perspective is the use of your breath, a kind of deep inhale and an expression of emotion as you feel comfortable, whether that's a positive thing, a positive expression, or a more negative expression. But in each case, it's what you feel comfortable with and what helps you feel, in a sense, better, more in control, more, or should I say, less helpless. Uh, and when you breathe out, use the sounds ah, ooh, and so that you can express your feelings and emotions without language. But you're focusing on expression now, full expression, raw expression, not being playful with it at all, not just focusing, but expressing. Breathe in, and if you can breathe in and form ah ooh, if you can grasp that, and that's beneficial, but not not necessary, not totally necessary. Oh, for me, it was a feeling of shivering, kind of sense of coldness that I felt. Now, in some cases, this may link you with physical sensations and feelings from stressful times in your life, and this will give you some degree of mastery over that feeling of being at ease with it. As you do all three of these, it can help you to feel calmer. Remember always, with all of the practices that I'm going to be presenting, it is an attempt on your part to feel better, to comfort yourself, to help you feel more comfortable in your skin and in your communications. Now let's move to an attempt that's into techniques that where you do have a sense of conceptualized sense of who you are in various forms. The central form is the form of you that is directly impacted by the drama in your life, the joys, the sorrows, and everything. I call that the kid. All of the communications, all of the techniques after the basic that I talked about or demonstrated are techniques around communicating with various forms of love, basically, to that inner, more emotional self. in you that I call the kid. Now, the easiest one of all um, is that which helps you in your drama from the present, looking into the future. And if in this communication or dialogue, anything in the past is referred to as in the past. So it's not an attempt to relive and express, which is another dialogue. It's an attempt to be aware and to cope and to undo any helplessness about that you feel about moving into the future, uh, approaching obstacles in your life, or understanding yourself in the present time. Um, it's a communication between what I call the kid in you and your inner counselor, which is the big you, the more rational, thoughtful self that hopefully in practicing this is who you are. Um, this is basically practice for people who are mature. Uh, uh, so, not for little babies, okay? Not for not for kids who. Mm, yeah, but that's if you're going to adapt these things to a child, you need to get in touch with a child psychologist, see how they might be modified. But this is an attempt for adults to connect better to themselves and to be empowered to help themselves, whether they get outside assistance or not, and um, and to find the mystic, empathetic pathway for personal growth. Yeah. So you might, as the little little guy and person inside you, say to the big you, "How you feeling?" Or you might start off as your inner counselor and ask you, your dramatic self, how you're feeling today. So let's try that. And some say it's good to look to your down and to your left if you're right-handed, or down and to your right if you're left-handed. I don't know if that makes a difference, but looking downward or upward is a good way to designate the difference between the roles that you're playing, unless you want to set up chairs or something. Um, so as I looked down, I might say to the kid in me, "How are you feeling today?" And then I might look back up to my inner counselor and say, "Well, I don't know. Uh, kind of okay. Um, some aches and pains, but I'm doing all right." And right away, you feel a little more emotional. You're talking about what you need. So then, how do you respond back? Well, let's give you my example. Well, sounds like you're overall doing okay, huh? So, what are your plans for today? Well, What I want? Yeah. What do you want? Well, I want a fun day. I'm just really bored. And, I would like to talk to people who, you know, can understand me. So it's a very loose configuration of, what is the kid in you. Sometimes they call it the dramatic self. All right. Looking down. Well, I get that. Um, there are various options you can take to improve on that. You can look for some Zooms that you might participate in. You might consider, looking forward to a visit to the Unitarian church that you attended before on Sunday, uh, but you might have to go alone. Nobody wants to go with you. Yeah, I don't like that. I like going alone. I'll think about it. Yeah, you do that. Get back with me. Nice to talk to you. So it's a very simple thing, and you can have quite a conversation going on there. That isn't mean doesn't mean that you confuse this intercommunication with more everyday communications where you might be talking to a professional counselor, but people like to help people who help themselves. All right, and it's better for your self-esteem if you help yourself. Now, another approach is, and that was an approach that had to do with objective empathy or objective love. So, creative empathy. Well, this is a communication between that dramatic self in you and a part of you that's up above your whole life, your whole story, your whole timeline, that can actually create memories for you uh, and, you know, give you a taste of experiencing a possible future. And that perspective in you is loves the whole story of your life. It's a great story. And from that perspective, you enjoy that story. In this position, you're always in a position of appreciation, an artful appreciation of your life and even the lives of others. So that communication is somewhat similar, but you can start off saying, "Show me what I need to see. Let me hear what I need to hear," and do communication with that part of yourself, that higher self, which I refer to as the brain, that mysterious part of you that is perhaps the real you, And the part of you that is the imaginer, yeah, created that word, of all that you imagine, including your imagination of who you are and who others are. It creates that. And so everything is created in this experience of inner mind communication by your artist, essentially. It kind of enters in and plays all the parts. But it's also your very best friend. It calls you to your better angels and self, uh, encouraging you to be more empathetic and creative, compassionate, and objective ways. So, and it is, in a sense, the part of you that reaches into your future as your counselor that implants this point of comfort and distance from which to think, and plants into your past a perspective of compassion, which helps you to feel what's going on in the present and to remember not just the bad experiences of the past and unlearning any helplessness about expressing feelings about that, but also helps you to realize some of the good things that happen to you in your life that you may not have appreciated at the time or been unable to appreciate at the time. So, but now we're focused on the creative empathy approach, that type of technique. And so you might say, show me what I need to see, or let me hear what I need to hear. And the artist in you opens up and it speaks to you. Um, it might create, I might ask you how you're feeling, make it a discussion. So, well, I feel bored. And, I would like to have a really fun experience. Okay, so your higher self creates a story for you, and that story is a kind of guided meditation. Yes, people have done this, having presenting guided meditations to audiences, but this is better because it's personalized for you. So, but someone who knows you really well can also help and play that role for you. All these things that are inner help, but also help in general in your communications and a guide for you in politics and everything else that you do. So, there. Okay. And how would you refer to yourself in that case? Uh, well, by your name, perhaps. So, okay. My preferred name is Mitch. Okay, Mitch, here's your experience. I know that you love palm trees, and you love warm warm, sunshine, and warm sandy beaches. So let's take you there. Let's take you there. You're lying on that warm beach, and you're feeling so calm and really enjoying the experience. And then as a treat for your eyes, a seal comes out of the ocean as if to say hi and turns around and goes back into the ocean. Some of your old friends drop by, and pretty soon it's a pretty cluttered beach. But you're not feeling alone. You've got great people to talk to. Okay, that was nice. That was very nice. Now, a healing approach, for bad times could be a repicturing of an event. When Ruth Carter Stapleton used something like this in her what she called inner healing, she would take a loving figure. In her case, it was Jesus, because she's very was a very strong Christian before she passed, and she, one story was that she helped a young lady who gave her a memory that was unpleasant to her about being in a burglary and being underneath a bed hiding while it was going on. So she had her imagine Jesus next to her, holding her hand and saying, "It's going to be okay." So this new memory, this new experience kind of brings her out of feeling that thing as if it's real today into a perspective in which it's fully a memory, um, and a memory she can look at from the eyes of the present. She was okay. She survived it. And that's a reminder of that for her. Was a reminder of that for her. And a healing influence. All right. Now let's take a look at communicating in the practice that I call communication with compassionate empathy. In this case, you're yourself, the more dramatic you, the more emotional you, which in a broad sense I call the kid, looks over and sees in your mind's eye someone you either cared about or who cared about you, or people who should have cared about you, or people you should have cared about. And you can see how that can be healing. So you talk to that person. You don't talk back from that person usually, unless you just want to. Um, and you just let the flow of consciousness take over and talk to the people you feel you need to talk to, and communicate with them. So here's an example from me, and this is the present looking into the past, and I discussed that earlier. So I might look and I see my kids, and to them I want to say, I wish I could have been a better dad and enjoyed you growing up more. And the present was, I miss you calling me. You mean the world to me. And thank you for being my children. Right away, I'm remembering a lady I fell in love with, and who I told I couldn't go through a marriage with her because of the prejudices my mother held. And I'll just say Irma. Irma, I'm so sorry. I should have ignored my mother's attitudes on the phone when I spoke of marrying you. I really regret it, and I tried to call you again on my way leaving that town to connect with you again and marry you. And no one knew where you were. And I've missed to this day the opportunity that I missed to be with you and with the son you already had, who showed that he wanted us to be together. I'm very sorry. Very sorry. And I hope that you have a good life after that. Now I'm seeing, lots of things that I need to be sorry for. And so you can see how that might be a little bit healing. And when you go back and you do all of these things, and then you go back and you all 6 of these practices, then you'll find yourself going deeper and deeper into your needs and feelings. And the reason for that is these things break down the symbolic defenses against feeling things that were negative in your life. And so helps you unlearn helplessness around needs, feelings, and they're spoken and feeling these things, and and expressing these things which once you were helpless to do. And that helplessness caused you to symbolize the needs and the circumstances in some cases, so that you uh, were hunting. Oh, in this case, maybe hunting for Irma again in many cases. Okay, problem with that? Not Irma. Not Irma. Long line of disappointment there. Not letting people be who they are. So there's that. And great insights can come to you. The reason that MAGA supporters might not be able to be open to this sort of inner communication is that it does um, weaken the symbolic defenses against being that real in your life, that connected to yourself and others. Because once upon a time, it was not safe to connect. And so with the MAGAs, you see a lot of times a lack of these forms of empathy. If you look closely, you'll see it's glaring. And even their idea of a boogeyman is pretty symbolic and misdirected. You know, the deep state. I'll give a In the future. I'll make a presentation about what is the real deep state. But they are truly sincere in their symbolic feelings, and they're not bad people. They're good people who have had these things limited in their lives, these connections, by some damaged faith and love, and and a lack of training and help in dealing with such things. So people who've been on a path of healing might not fall for the things that MAGAs do. They wouldn't be looking for a strong man to replace adequate moms and dads. You know, to fix all their problems. They would think more about what they could do to help, and think more in terms of having empathy for those who disagree with them, and a greater skill at communicating and connecting with their own inner objectivity, creativity, and compassion. As we grow in this spiritual healing, um, we find new comfort zones in which exist an expanded ability to be truly and deeply thoughtful, objectivity, and more compassionate, a bigger circle of those you care about, including people at the border trying to come into the country. A little more compassion. No razor wire. So is this political? Yeah, can't escape it. If you truly are empathetic and caring about the world, you have to engage in politics in a democratic society. It's your duty to do so. So that's the connection of all of this to a healthy democracy. Yeah, you know, otherwise you have these big divides between people. People become very divided um, without these forms of empathy. Yeah, become very divided. The rich and the poor. You're just going for symbols of needs that can't be fulfilled because they're actually losses. We're born of trauma. Losses. You can't fill up on symbols. And that's why I believe we have Jesus supposedly saying that money was the root of all evil, or more accurately, mammon. Um, so, yeah, it's the love of symbolic need, that takes you down the wrong street. So, the worship of wealth, for instance, comes from that. The idea that somebody who's wealthy is more trustworthy than, right? Well, thus people were attracted to Trump because he said he was wealthy. How did he get that wealth? So a little objectivity there. How did he get that? Yeah. Anyway, let's not go too far into politics this time. But it does relate to your politics. It relates to how society is structured, and we'll discuss that at another time. But as I like to say at the end of my videos, namaste, a word that means all of this love flow, which is what intermind communication is about, um, that potential exists in all of us. We're all connected to the same universe. And so, in a sense, are one with that universe. From, and when you say namaste to someone, you're saying that from that place in you, that potential in you, and that appreciation of yourself as part of the universe, that from that same perspective, that loving, embracing perspective, that you're honoring the same, that other person. It is the ultimate respect for another human being. Namaste. And have a good day, y'all.